Okay, so we're going to move on to the next part of the video, which is about projects. And projects is one of the most powerful things in Powered Now. It's incredibly easy to use, but it adds a huge amount of information which can help you run your business. So I'm going to hop back to the home screen, and you'll see a section on the left-hand side, or again on the mobile, if you press that button there, projects. If you click on that, what it'll do is show you the various projects you've got going. Now, what is a project? Well, a project is really the black book. It's the folder. It's the shoebox of stuff for the job or the customer that you're working for. So you can see, and you would have seen it as I was working through this video, I've been creating projects in the background. I've got one here for Larry the landlord called a boiler install. So let's open that project up and take a look at it. Now, projects can be run maybe for an individual customer. So if you want to capture one place for Larry the landlord, absolutely everything you've ever done for him, you can have one project. Or maybe you do multiple projects for Larry and you want to break them down. You can do that as well. You can see all the information, who the customer is, if you have a site, and if you remember for this particular one, I had Mrs. Sarah Jones. You can see the financials. You can see that £2,400 was quoted. That was accepted by the customer. You invoiced a bit more, and that's been paid. But this is it. And Powered Now has a very simple way of keeping track of everything. It just puts it onto a timeline in its projects. So if we have a quick look, you can see that's the invoice I sent the customer. If I click on that button here, you can actually see the invoice. You can see a notification was sent. You can see a quotation was sent. And actually you can see the pricing as well. So you can use projects for all sorts of things. Projects work by capturing information and putting it onto this timeline. Everything here is private, only you or your staff see it. And if you've got staff and you're adding them into Powered Now, you can actually hide some things from them in the projects as well. So maybe you don't want your engineers to see your pricing, but you do want them to see the information about the quote. You can do that. So this blue button, Add New Item to Project, if you press that, this shows you the different things that you can add onto your project. So maybe you want to take a note. This information can be stored safely. Maybe you want to add a photo. There we go, we've got a copy of the logo that we added previously. Press save. That's storing it onto the project timeline. You can also add files. So maybe you have a PDF document or some plans you want to store safely. You can add those onto the timeline. You can also send messages to the customers. But if you wanted to send a text message or an email, you can send that off and it's recorded on the timeline. And it's exactly the same with pricing, reminders, appointments. You can also log time, and any forms and certificates that you're creating are added here. So that's the briefest of introductions to projects. What I'm going to do now, as I'm working through the rest of the demo, I'm going to keep referencing back this project so you can see how things are building up and you can see what we actually do with them. So there we go. That's projects in a nutshell. Again, projects are held here under the left-hand side of projects, and in Powered Now on the mobile, all you do is exactly the same. It's under projects. In fact, if I just quickly open up that project, it gives me a good excuse to show you the sync quickly. So let's add something to this project timeline. So if I go to the notes, maybe let's type this. Press save. So I can add a quick note into the project on the mobile. Now the sync happens automatically in the background. There we go. I was trying to show you the number. If I press this over here, just to go into the project, there we go. You can see the note is automatically copied from one device to another. It's a great way of working with Teams. But again, we will cover that shortly.